like, well, if you like Tony and Jerome and I did Fear Agent. And they're like, all right, I'll see you around.
Who's that published by?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, Josh from Multiversity here with the one and only Rick Remender. How are you doing on this early afternoon?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm great. I'm terrific.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's fantastic. Any more adjectives? All right.
What am I, a writer?
Guess not. So this week, the big launch was Uncanny X-Force #1 over at Marvel.
Did that come out this week?
I think so. Pretty sure it did. I read it. So I'd imagine it did come out.
Well, that's exciting to know. This is the first I've heard of it.
Nice. How are you reacting to, I guess, the immediate reactions to the series?
It's great. It's terrific. I mean, how can you not? It's you know, it's sold a lot of books, and it's gonna, you know, I'm sure it's sold out by now. All the news was that it's going to be, and yeah, I mean, it's terrific, and it's great to be able to do it with somebody. You know, Jerome and I have been doing books together for 5 years, and I kind of feel it feels nice to climb the ladder with a buddy like that, and as we both sort of increase our arsenal to be able to do something that a lot of people get to see is a real treat. Yeah.
So how is your time working on Fear Agent kind of influencing your work on X-Force and Punisher and whatnot?
Well, you know, anytime you collaborate on a comic book or anything, there's a learning curve to getting to work with people where you recognize that they like certain ways of scripting, or they will or won't do things, you know, X, Y, and Z. And with Jerome, we've already worked that out years ago. You know, I mean, Jerome and I, our first book was in Strange Girl, and that was, we had 3 conversations about, you know, how he likes scripts and how, you know, I like this and that. And ever since then, it's just been a smooth transition, and so we're buddies and we have similar sensibilities, and so the end result is more pure to the intention. I don't have to worry about it. You know, everything I've done with Jerome is sort of immediately becomes the high water mark of my career, and I don't know. I think there's a lot about that comes to synergy. You know, 2 guys who have been working together for half a decade are inevitably like going to, you know, form a better bond, and the collaboration is going to be true to intention, I guess is the simplest way to put it.
So did you bring him along with you to X-Force? Was that like your idea to bring him onto the book?
Well, I mean, obviously I asked for him. You know, I don't get to tell them what will happen, but no, I mean, you know, I definitely brought him to Marvel. We had finished up Fear Agent Volume 4, and I was going to be taking over Punisher, so I sent Axel his stuff, and you know, we obviously didn't have a hard time selling him. Axel's got terrific taste and knows a good artist when he sees it, so we did Punisher together, and then he did some Moon Knight stuff while I was working with Tony on Frankencastle, and now you know, once I knew that I was going to get X-Force, I obviously said, you know, I'd really like Jerome back, and you know, everybody saw that, yeah, keep it going, and so hopefully it'll you know, continue. I know that right now the plan is to have him alternating arcs, because he's not quick enough to do a monthly, you know, so if we get him alternating, then we can keep him and one other guy, sort of what we did on Fear Agent, where it was Tony Jerome, Tony Jerome, Tony Jerome. We'll do that on X-Force with, and I don't think it'll be Tony because we have another project, but it'll be another amazing artist. Yeah, well, I know who it is, but I can't say it, but it's huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, spiraling back, you say, Rick, you're getting tapped for X-Force. What's your gut reaction on that?
Well, you know, it was excitement. I grew up reading the X books. I mean, that was what I primarily collected in the 80s and into the 90s before I stopped reading books. You know, everybody goes through that transitional period where they're just like, I'm kind of bored of this. And for me, it was, I think, it was my first X-Men. I don't remember. It was like 178 or something. It was around the time when John Romita Jr. was in the middle of his run, and there were some interesting things going on back then. But I remember, you know, for me, the reason that I got into comics was having read that X stuff, and then I went went backwards. I started mowing lawns so that I could go out and start from issue 94 up, which was an expensive back issue for a kid. It was $100. So I'd work and save my money, and there was no trades then. This is how you had to do it. And I put together a full run of X-Men, and it was my jam. I loved it. So to be able to play in that playground and to get a chance to tell stories with those characters the way I feel those characters is a great, it's a great feeling, and it's a lot of fun.
It's funny you brought that up. One of my gut reactions when I saw the lineup was that's freaking fantastic. Like I'm really jazzed on the team you picked for the book. Just want to talk a little bit about why you picked certain characters.
Well, the choices basically come down to the fact that, and it was obviously something that all the editorial staff was involved in and at the retreat, and it wasn't just me that chose them, but I think that the thing that worked for me, and the reason that I liked the team put together that way, was that they're all good guys who were then damaged and manipulated and screwed with, who should be bad guys, but they continue to fight that ugly thing that was put inside of each one of them, and that makes them, for me, I get my head around it, like they're almost more heroic to me, given that they should by all rights be villains. They should be self-serving, aggrandizing assholes who steal and kill and murder and relish in debauchery and orgies, because that would be the more natural conclusion for characters who've had what has been done to each one of these characters. But they're not. They're trying to do things that are for the common good. And in this case, it's sort of a Munich-style band of characters who have that in them. They're capable of murder. They've got a dark side to them, and so they're going to point that at places that it can do some good, as opposed to things that might be more self-serving and villainous. So they kind of unifies them a little.
Trying to find the silver lining in them, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, or to use this thing that they've got in them. In terms of, I'm a killer, or Wolverine or any of these guys. They're all killers now. They've all got it in them. Betsy's been programmed by the Hand, and it's like we can use that and take down things like Apocalypse before they go out and murder a lot of innocent people. And so
just to wrap up, if you could summarize what's coming down the road for all the fans of the book in one word, what would it be?
Big. Yeah, I think that people will be surprised by the size of what's going to be growing in this book, and spilling and spilling and spilling. It's Apocalypse, and when you think about all of the pieces on the board with Apocalypse, we would be making a mistake if we didn't use them all. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of really cool stuff. So we're gonna the sandbox has been pulled out, and I'm gonna try and do something sort of epic with the character.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.